Okay. Do you know specifically when the book's going to come out, or about when we can expect
Word
it?
is that it's going to be in spring of 2010.
My question was, in the book, is there like a main character that you're following the storyline through that'll go through all three books? Or
Every one of the writers is doing a separate story, essentially, right? So my book will be complete in and of itself. So you can read this book, or you can read book 2, or you can read book 3. Read them in any order you want to. You don't have to worry about picking one up and not knowing what's going on or anything like that. So yeah, my story starts out with this main character who's a human explorer, a thief, kind of an Indiana Jones type of a character, and he gets hired on to find this artifact that they need to be able to forge the piece, right? And it's a story about how the team comes together, how they go off and manage to pull this off without killing each other, right? So it's a lot of good fun that way. But the other guys who are developing their stories, I know what their outlines are. I know roughly where they're going to be going and that kind of stuff. But and sometimes we will share characters back and forth, right? But we're very much developing it independently. So.
Will we see any of the characters from the books in the game at all?
It is definitely our hope that some of the really compelling characters that live to the end of the book, that when the game comes out, that you would see those in game somewhere. This has been a very collaborative effort. I talked a little bit about the process. When we sat down with the authors, we had ideas in house of kind of where we wanted to go with some of these stories, but we wanted it to be a collaborative effort. And so we brought the authors in and we basically brainstormed, say, okay, here's kind of where we want to go. What can you bring to the table? And the authors kept surprising us with the ideas that they brought, and we're like, wow, that's really cool. And Jeff and Ree Sosby would say, wow, we like that, and we're going to see if we can't make that part of the canon that we hadn't even thought of yet and put it in the game. And definitely with the characters, the ones who are the most compelling and of course, like I said, actually survive. We have full intentions of dropping them into the game so that players can interact with them and see them and get kind of a full experience between both the book and the game. That being said, it is a game and it's still in development, and we don't know, exactly where we will put them and whether or not they'll make it in, but it is our intention to put some of these characters in the game.
You said that like some of the other authors, you're sharing like characters and ideas like that. Does it mean are all three books bridging the 250-year gap? Are we gonna get the books after Guild Wars 2 is released or before, or like what's the timeline for the three books?
The three books are three distinct stories. They're three different stories, and you don't want to think of them in any way as a trilogy. They're just three Guild Wars novels that are going to tell different stories. They are set at different times. I'm not really going to go into the other two very much. Matt's book is set about a year before the beginning of Guild Wars 2. It's at a time when the humans and the Char are just starting to realize that they have way too many problems to keep fighting each other. They're each fighting wars on about three different fronts, and they would like to maybe get rid of one of those fronts if they possibly can. And so there is kind of an idea on both sides that maybe it's time for us to stop fighting each other, at least for now, until maybe we can get some of these other things taken care of. Not everybody on either side is happy about that decision, but this book takes place at the very, very beginnings of those talks, and what you will then see in the game is kind of the fruition of what happens in the book and how those truce talks can then progress. The other two books are going to tell different stories.
Is one of the dragons going to appear in the book?
You're going to have to read it.
One of the other questions I've seen is, will reading Fall of Ascalon or any other of the novels give you any kind of advantage when you play Guild Wars 2? Are there going to be any Easter eggs, like any hints about the game that will help you?
Well, obviously they're going to give you advantages in that you'll be able to, get a little bit of insight into what a Sylvari is all about, or what an Asura is all about, or what the Char are like in that time frame. I think everybody's familiar with the Char like in the time of Guild Wars 1, but they're very, very different in Guild Wars 2. And so they'll get kind of some insight that way. No actual game advantages or anything like that. But if anybody who wants to is really interested in kind of the story and where Guild Wars 2 is going and where Guild Wars is going as a world, where Tyria is going as a world, probably would be very well served to read the book.
Do we know about how much these books are going to cost?
They're going to come out as paperbacks, and they will be priced as pretty much any normal fantasy paperback. I can't say for sure because I don't know, but you can assume probably $6-7, whatever a paperback's going for these days.
I think it's about $7.99 is what it goes for, except if you buy it at discounts online or anything like that.
Another question I've seen is, will the book come with any in-game bonus item or any kind of merchandise tie-in?
We can't really say at the moment because that's more of a marketing kind of decision, and those things will be decided probably closer to the time when the book's coming out.
Is it going to release North America at the same time? Like, is Canada going to get it at the same time the States is?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it'll be. It's being published by Pocket Books, and they will distribute it wherever English language Pocket Books are distributed. And Pocket Books also has the ability to license it out for other languages, and it is definitely our intention for it to appear in other languages. But a lot of that is in the hands of Pocket Books, so I can't really say when or which languages.
Matt, you were talking about how the book follows the point of view of one human character. Will you explore other points of view, or are each of the 3 books going to follow like one person, one particular character?
Well, in my book, there's you have your major viewpoint character, right? But as we were saying before, it kind of has this Canterbury Tales thing in it, where people are telling their own stories about their different races. So each race has got at least 1 or 2 different characters in each of the major races that are going to explain how they view themselves and how they view the other races, right? So you're going to get a lot of different viewpoints in the book. It's a third-person limited narrator, right? So you're not like I did this. You're not inside of his head entirely. So you get a little bit of swapping around. But I always like to have one strong viewpoint character that everybody can identify with when I write, right? Some writers like to just jump from head to head to head, and I find that gives me nausea, so I like to just stick with the one guy. So.
Any more questions from the audience?
Anybody?
I'm running out of questions. You want to talk a bit more about?
I don't know, is there anything you guys want to say about it?
All right. If there's no more questions, we might just wrap this up. All right. If there are no more questions from the audience, then we will wrap up the session. Thank you very much for our 3 panelists for showing up. Matt Forbeck, he's an author of Guild Wars, Fall of Ascalon, Will McDermott, and Eric Flannum. Thank you very much. Round of applause, please. At 2 o'clock, we will have another Guild Wars 2 art book giveaway. And we've got a Q&A with our ArenaNet artists coming up at 3:30. And then we've got a signing at 4:30. And if you haven't got a copy of Guild Wars 2 art book, there will be two more giveaway sessions tomorrow. And of course, it will be on sale at a later date after PAX. So if your friends are coming up to you and they're like, oh, I didn't get an art book, I'm so jealous, well, tell them they'll be for sale later. All right, thanks everyone.